Welcome to Fazza Poetry World, where hearts turn into poetry. Close your eyes for a moment, and forget the world, because what I'm about to say is not something ordinary, it's not a story people tell just to pass time, it's a love, the kind people doubt, the kind people judge, the kind people whisper about behind closed doors. They said, "She's too old for you." They said, "You will regret this one day." They said, "Find someone your age." But they never asked me one thing. Do you love her? Because if they had asked, they would have seen the truth in my eyes. She is my love, not because the world approves, but because my heart chose her. In a way it has never chosen anyone before. Yes, she is older than me. And yes, people talk. But people always talk. They talk when you fail, they talk when you rise, they talk when you stay, they talk when you leave, so why should I live my life based on the noise of people who don't even understand my silence? When I first saw her, it wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was calm, like a quiet sunrise that slowly lights up everything, without asking for attention. She didn't try to impress me, she didn't try to be perfect, she just was. And somehow, that was enough to shake my entire world. She had this strength, not the kind that screams, but the kind that stays silent and still survives everything. Her words were clear, her presence steady, she didn't play games, she didn't pretend, and maybe that's what scared me at first, because I was still figuring myself out. I was still becoming someone I could be proud of, but she already knew who she was. And somehow, in the middle of my confusion, she saw me. Not the version I showed the world, but the version I was still hiding, the broken parts, the unsure parts, the parts that didn't even believe in themselves yet. She saw all of it, and she stayed calm. And slowly, without even realizing, I started falling. Not the kind of fall that feels like chaos, but the kind that feels like home. Like after a long, exhausting day, you finally sit down and breathe. That's what she felt like. Peace. One night, I couldn't hold it anymore. All those feelings, all that love, all that truth inside my chest, it needed to be spoken. So I told her. I thought, maybe she would smile, maybe she would say something soft, maybe she would say, "I feel the same." But she didn't. She looked down, her fingers tracing the edge of the table, and in the softest voice, she said, "We can't do this." And in that moment, it felt like the world paused. Why? I asked. Not angry, not loud, just confused. She sighed, like she was carrying something heavy inside her. One day, she said, "You'll want someone younger. Someone with more time." Her voice was calm, but her eyes were breaking. That's when I understood, she wasn't rejecting me. She was protecting herself. Protecting herself. From another goodbye, from another broken promise, from another story that ends with her being left behind. And I hated that. I hated that someone before me made her believe that she wasn't worth staying for. So I held her hands, tightly, like I was holding something sacred. And I said, the only thing I will regret is losing you. She looked at me, not fully believing, not fully trusting, because fear doesn't disappear that easily. You're scared, I said softly. I understand that. But I'm not here to try. I'm not here for fun. I know what I want. And it's you. But what about people? She whispered. I smiled. Let them talk. I don't need their approval. I only need you. But loving her wasn't the hard part. The hard part was making her believe that I wasn't going anywhere. She would pull away sometimes, her eyes filled with doubt, like she was already preparing for the day I leave. You deserve someone better, she said once. I didn't even blink. You are everything. She laughed, like I was being naive, but I wasn't joking. It was never about age. It was about the way she listens, the way she understands, the way she makes me feel strong. Even on my weakest days, she didn't just love me, she made me better. And I wasn't going to lose that, just because the world doesn't understand it. So I stayed. Through her doubts, through her silence, through the nights. She pushed me away, thinking she was protecting me. Every time I pulled her back. Because she is my love, even if she is older, no, especially because she is older. One night, she looked at me, her eyes filled with tears. You act like this will last forever. I will love you forever, I said. She shook her head. Love doesn't always last. I've seen it. People leave. I stepped closer. Then why not believe in us? Because people don't stay, she whispered. And there it was, the truth. She wasn't afraid of age, she wasn't afraid of people, she was afraid of being left behind. And in that moment, my heart broke for her. I'm not them, I said. You say that now. But what about later? I didn't answer with words. Because some promises aren't meant to be spoken, they're meant to be shown. So I reached into my pocket, pulled out a small velvet box. Her breath stopped. What are you doing? My heart is sure. I've waited for the perfect moment. But there is no perfect moment. There's only now. And I went down on one knee. She gasped, tears filled her eyes. You keep waiting for me to leave. But I'm not going anywhere. I opened the box, the ring shining softly. I love you. I don't care about age. I don't care about the world. I care about you. You don't have to do this, she cried. I want to. But what if? No more what ifs. Just answer me. Are you sure? I have never been more sure of anything in my life. She stood there, shaking, crying, like she was standing on the edge of a dream. She never thought she deserved. And then, she nodded. Yes. And in that moment, she fell into my arms, holding me like I was her home. And I realized something. This wasn't just love. This was healing. Because she was mine, and I was hers, not just for now, not just for the easy days, not just until things get hard, but forever. No matter what the world says, no matter how time changes, no matter how many people doubt, because real love doesn't count years, it counts heartbeats. And my heart chose her. And if you think the story ended there, then you don't understand love yet, because saying yes is not the end of the journey, it's the beginning of everything that truly tests you. The world didn't suddenly become kind, people didn't stop talking, if anything, their voices got louder. Look at them. Strange couple. This won't last. He'll leave her. She's wasting his life. Words, so many words, thrown at us. Like they knew our story better than we did. But here's the truth, love is not built in silence and comfort alone, it is built in noise, in pressure, in moments where everything around you tries to break what you're holding together. And we were holding on. There were days when she would go quiet again, not because she didn't love me, but because she was scared of loving me too much. One evening, she sat beside me, but it felt like she was miles away. What's wrong? I asked softly. She didn't look at me. I was thinking. And I already knew, thinking was always where her fears lived. About what? About the future. Her voice trembled. What if one day, you wake up, and realize you want something else? I smiled gently. Then I'll wake up. And still choose you. She shook her head. You don't understand. No. I said. You don't understand how much I've already chosen you. Because love is not just a feeling. It's a decision. A decision you make. Again, and again, and again, even on the days it feels heavy. And I chose her, every single day. There were nights, when she would cry quietly, thinking I was asleep. But I wasn't. I would hear her breathing change, feel her heart racing, and I would pull her closer, without saying a word. Because sometimes, love is not about speaking, it's about staying. You deserve better. She whispered once in the dark. And I held her tighter. I already have better. She turned to me, eyes filled with tears. Why are you so sure? I looked at her. Because you're not just someone I love. You're someone I respect. Someone I admire. Someone who made me grow. Without even trying. And that is rare. Time passed, days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and slowly, her fear started losing its grip. She began to smile more, not the guarded smile, but the real one, the one that reaches the eyes, the one that doesn't hide anything. And God, that smile, was worth every fight. But love, it always finds a way to test you one more time. One day, we were walking together, and someone said it loudly, right in front of us. "He's just wasting his time." She stopped. Her hand slipped from mine, and I felt it, that old fear, coming back again. She looked at me, not angry, not hurt, just tired. "Maybe they're right," she said quietly. And that hurt more than anything else. Not their words, but the fact that she almost believed them. So I stepped in front of her, held her face gently, and said, "Look at me." She hesitated, but then she did. "Do I look unsure?" She shook her head. "Do I look like I'm leaving?" "No." "Then why are you listening to people who don't even know how to stay?" Silence. And then, tears. "I'm just scared," she whispered. "I know. But I'm still here." And sometimes, that's all love needs to hear. Not promises, not big speeches, just, "I'm still here." From that day, something changed. Not in the world, but in her. She stopped fighting the love, and started trusting it. She held my hand tighter, she stopped pulling away, she stopped preparing for an ending that wasn't coming. And one night, she looked at me with a calm I had never seen before. "If you ever leave," she paused, "I won't survive it." I didn't smile this time. I just looked at her, and said, "Then I won't leave. Because love like this, is not temporary. It's not built on age, it's not built on time, it's built on truth. And the truth is, out of everyone in this world, out of every possible story, out of every possible path, my heart still chose her. Not once, not twice, but every single day. And if the world still asks me, why her? I'll smile, and say, because she is not just part of my story. She is the reason my story makes sense. And even after all that, even after the promises, even after the nights we held each other, like we were afraid to lose time itself, life still had more to test us with. Because love, real love, doesn't just ask, "Do you feel something?" It asks, "Will you stay, when everything becomes difficult?" There came a phase, quiet, heavy, different. Not because we stopped loving each other, but because life started asking for more than just love. Responsibilities, pressure, expectations, from family, from society, from the future itself. One day, she sat in front of me, her eyes calm, but her soul tired. "We need to talk." Those 4 words, they always carry a storm inside them. I stayed quiet, because I knew, this wasn't going to be easy. "My family," she said slowly. "They won't accept this." I didn't interrupt. "They think She paused. That I'm making a mistake. And what do you think? I asked gently. She looked at me, and for the first time, I saw her breaking again. I think. Her voice cracked. I'm tired of fighting everyone. That moment, it didn't feel like anger, it didn't feel like rejection, it felt like exhaustion. And that kind of pain is the hardest to fight. Are you tired of me? I asked, not out of doubt, but out of honesty. She shook her head immediately. Never you. Then what? I'm tired of proving that this love is real. Silence. Because she was right. Why does love have to prove itself to people who don't even understand it? That night, we didn't argue, we didn't raise our voices, we just sat there, two people, in love, but surrounded by a world that didn't know how to accept it. Days passed, and something started changing again. She became quieter, not distant, but careful. Like she was slowly preparing for something she didn't want to do, but felt forced to. One evening, she said it. Maybe. She took a deep breath. Maybe we should stop. And just like that, everything inside me went silent. Not broken, not shattered, just still. Stop. She nodded, eyes filled with tears. Before it gets harder. Before it gets harder, as if it wasn't already. I stood up, walked to her, and for a moment, I didn't say anything. Because sometimes, words are too small for what the heart feels. Then I looked at her. Do you love me? She didn't hesitate. Yes. Do you want to leave? Silence. And that silence said everything. No. She whispered. Then don't. It's not that simple. It is. No, it's not. Her voice finally broke. They won't accept us. The world won't accept us. This will always be a fight. I stepped closer. Then let it be a fight. She shook her head. You don't understand. No. I said softly. I understand perfectly. I understand that love like this is rare. I understand that walking away will be easier. But I also understand that if we leave this now, we will spend the rest of our lives wondering, what if we had stayed? Tears rolled down her face. I'm scared. I know. But fear is not a reason to lose something real. She closed her eyes, like she was fighting herself. I don't want to lose you. Then don't let me go. And in that moment, something shifted again. Not in the world, not in the people, but in us. Because love is not about never facing problems, it's about deciding that no problem is bigger than what you have. Weeks later, we stood together again, stronger, not because life got easier, but because we stopped running from it. Her hand in mine, her eyes no longer full of fear, but full of quiet courage. I'm still scared, she admitted. I smiled. Me too. She looked surprised. You are? Of course. I'm scared of losing you. She squeezed my hand. But I'm more scared of a life without you. And that was the moment. She truly believed. Not in perfect endings, not in fairy tales, but in us. And maybe, that's what real love is. Not perfect, not easy, not accepted by everyone, but chosen, again and again, even when it's hard. Because in the end, it was never about age, it was never about people, it was never about fear, it was about two hearts, finding each other, and refusing to let go.